Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Craig Mercer. I will be one of the co-hosts for today's virtual cultural fair, and this is my fellow co-host.
Hi, my name is Yukari Peerless.
And Yukari,
Yes.
Are you ready to have a good day?
Yes.
Well, I'm certainly ready to have a good day. But before we get started with our first ever virtual Japanese cultural fair, we did want to take time to acknowledge with respect the Algonquin peoples on whose traditional territory the theater stands, and the Songhees, Esquimalt, and Wassanek peoples whose historical relationships with the land continue to this day. May we build strong working relationships with all local peoples and nations with trust, humility, kindness, respect, and continue to walk softly on these ancestral lands.
私たちは劇場が立つ伝統的な領土であるルコアン原族とその土地との歴史的な関係が今日まで続いているソンヒーズ族、エスクワイモルト族、フセイニッチ族に敬意を表します。信頼、謙虚さ、優しさ、尊敬の念を持って、すべての地域の人々と強い協力関係を築き、先祖代々の土地を穏やかに歩き続けられますように。
Thank you, Yukari. And without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Tsugio Kurushima, who is the president of the Victoria Nikkei Cultural Society, to officially open the fair.
Thank you, Craig, and welcome to this virtual edition of our annual Japanese Cultural Fair. So if these were normal times, I wouldn't be here on the stage of the Belfry Theater, but I'd be at the Esquimalt Rec Center welcoming large crowds of people who come each year to experience, enjoy, and learn about Japanese and Japanese-Canadian culture. But of course, the COVID-19 pandemic has caused us to cancel the fair. But our board felt it was, very strongly felt that we should continue our Japanese cultural outreach. So we decided to put on this virtual fair. Now, the creation of this production has been a challenge for us. It's really uncharted waters for us. And I want to commend the organizing team for their hard work and effort for bringing this virtual fair to fruition. I also want to thank the National Association of Japanese Canadians and the Township of Esquimalt for their generous financial support. The broadcast you'll see today, I think you'll find to be both entertaining and informative. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Thank you.
Thank you. And as with all cultural fairs, the VNCS, whether real in person at the Esquimalt Rec Center, as Sugio said, or in the virtual edition, we always open our fairs with Uminari Taiko. And so we're going to ask that Taiko please take the stage and open up our fair.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cadence, and we are Uminari Taiko. We are so pleased to be here for this first ever virtual cultural fair. Oh, this would help. Okay, hello again. We are Uminari Taiko. We are Vancouver Island's first taiko drumming ensemble. Our mission is to share and promote the art of Japanese taiko drumming through teaching and performance, and when the occasion arises, through live streams as well. Our name, Uminari, comes from the Japanese word that can be translated to roaring sea. So the crashing waves, as well as the silences in between. And that name evokes both the taiko drumming that we do, as well as our wavy, windswept island. The song we just played is called Stepping Stones. It's by Oliver Kirby of Kagemusha Taiko out of Exeter, England. Our group learned that one at the World Taiko Gathering in Los Angeles in 2014. And as you heard, that's a really nice, lively one to open the program today. From there, we're going to move to a more intense driving rhythm called Agari Yatai. It's composed by Yoichi Watanabe, leader of Amano Jaku. It's a standard piece learned and performed by the group's students, and today the piece is performed worldwide. It was featured in a 1,200-person performance celebrating the 100th anniversary of Japanese immigration to Brazil. We do not have quite that many people today, but I don't know how many people are out there watching. You'll hear that this piece is a call and response piece, so if you have a good ear and maybe a pair of bachi at home, please join in if you can. Please enjoy Agari Yatai.
Well, the next song we're going to play is called Ishoni, Together. This song was composed by 3 female taiko players from California, Chrissy Sato, Janet Koike, and Tony Yagami. And we learned this song quite a few years ago at another North American Taiko conference in 2009 in Los Angeles. So we have adapted and developed this song to make it uniquely ours. We fused the African and Latin rhythms with dance and a hip-hop beat that we borrowed from the Taiko Project, another California-based Taiko group. So I hope you have fun watching this piece as much as we have fun playing it. Ishoni.
Our last piece for this set is Aranami, written by the Reverend Tom Kurai, and it means turbulent waves. And if you can imagine yourself on the west coast of this island, where we sometimes get these large waves pounding on the rocky shores, and then the silences in between, you can imagine that this is very imaginable. This is considered to be our signature piece because our name Uminari also means sounds of the sea. So this is Aranami.
Excellent. Thank you, Uminari Taiko. That was awesome. The crew that's here in the theater, like, are we allowed to clap? Because this is awesome. But it's our first time doing a live broadcast. So thank you guys very much. お疲れ様でした。Well, that's awesome.
All right.
Yeah, you know, when I listen to Taiko, I think of the up in Ucluelet, you know, in Tofino when there's the big storms and the big rollers come in, right? And I just think if anybody's ever up, you know, going, you know, storm watching in Ucluelet, take along some Uminari Taiko and play it while you're watching the storm.
Background music, yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, I guess we got some housekeeping to do.
Yes.
While Taiko is kind of removing the drums and stuff. So what do we got on our website as people are watching us right now? We've got a few things we need to tell people about.
Yes. So I don't know where I'm looking at, but
probably that one back there, maybe.
Sorry.
We talked about this before. Like,
I know.
I'm not going to know which camera to talk to.
I don't know what we're doing. Yeah, so I'm hoping you're watching this on vncs.ca. And underneath your YouTube embedded window, there should be 32 auctions. We have the auctioning fundraising going on.
That's right.
Also, we have Canada Helps donate button. So please give to, because we worked so hard on this event, so we really appreciate your donation. Yeah.
And we also have the survey button. So
that's right.
Because this is our first virtual fair, we wanted to solicit feedback from the audience. So if you have time and feel so inclined, please feel free at any point during the cultural fair or at the end to press that link. It'll pop you off to SurveyMonkey, and there's just a few short questions, maybe take a couple of minutes to fill out. But we'd really appreciate your feedback, because if this is something that folks really enjoy and think is really useful, we'll look at potentially incorporating it into our in-person fair when we finally get back past COVID-19 and into our regular fair. And as Yukari mentioned about so the 32 auctions, so lots of folks have donated items to the Victoria Nikkei Cultural Society, and our wonderful volunteer Patty Kagawa, who is also she's running around here
she's doing everything,
shuttling people up to the stage. She's put together all those auction items from donations from folks, and if you find anything on there, please feel free to put in a bid, and you might be that lucky winner. And also the Canada Donates, so bit of background, the Japanese Cultural Fair is our basically one and only fundraising event of the year, and it goes to fund other activities throughout the year. One of the main ones being we look after the gravestones down at Ross Bay Cemetery, the Japanese-Canadian folks who are buried there, and we look after the gravestones, and so that's one of the things that we put that money towards. And you and I have both been sitting on a scholarship committee.
That's right. We have a scholarship brewing up.
Coming up. We're looking to create an endowed award at the University of Victoria for students who are, you know, they are pursuing Japanese Canadian studies that are innovative and groundbreaking, I guess. Karen, if you're watching, I'm trying to channel your mindset there. Okay, so that was Taiko. That's awesome. What do we have coming up next?
Okay, well, next is the tea ceremony session. This is a pre-recorded session. We recorded a few weeks ago at the beautiful back garden in Urasenke Tankokai. That's the Victoria-based tea ceremony group. So yeah, that one is, I believe it's ready to go. Yeah,
and now, Yukari, you used to be part of the tea ceremony group, didn't you?
Yes.
So
long time ago.
What drew you into tea ceremony?
That's a very good question. I think I just randomly, somebody told me there's a tea ceremony group here in Victoria, and do you want to come? And I was like, okay. And I was hooked. It was beautiful. She's not here today, or she's not in the recorded session, but Mito Sensei, she's the organizer, she's a leader, she's a teacher of the Urasenke Tankokai. She's a wonderful teacher. I love her so much. it's beautiful and it's done in a very traditional way. So I hope whoever's watching, you enjoy watching this pre-recorded session.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really wonderful, I think, for us to have a recording of tea ceremony, because tea ceremony by far is one of the most popular sessions at the fair, and the Esquimalt Rec Center is always a great place to host, but we pack that room. It's totally full. The tea ceremony group, they do two tea ceremonies, and it's standing room only. And so hopefully, it might be like one of the things we might want to broadcast in future years is the tea ceremony, so that more people can experience it, because it is awesome.
Because it's really hard to, sometimes you can't really see it when you're sitting in the room and, they're doing a tea ceremony over there a little bit far. But this pre-recorded session is probably a good idea, good chance for you to see up close and personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess without further ado, let's enjoy tea ceremony.
Yeah.
The history of practicing tea ceremony started in the 16th century. Nowadays, not only in Japan, but all over the world, many people practice chado, the way of tea. We, Urasenke Victoria Chado students, have been practicing here in Victoria over 10 years and have participated in many local events. We hope the audience can enjoy this local video performance. Ojiku has the theme of the tea gathering for that day. By bowing to the calligraphy, the guest shows respect to the meaning of the writing. This calligraphy means one meeting, one chance. We practice both chair style and sitting on the floor style regularly. Today's performance is called Uno Hana Temae, which is casual and suitable for outdoor occasions. The box contains all the utensils you need to make a bowl of tea wherever you want to take it with you. All you need is hot water. Thank you very much for having me. I'm very glad it's a beautiful day today. The flowers and the card were very beautiful. What does the card say?
Today's scroll is one chance, one meeting. So we should enjoy this moment.
Thank you very much.
をどうぞ。
おしまいいたします。
We hope you enjoyed watching this tea gathering. In these very unusual circumstances, this really was one meeting, one chance. We hope you understand the way of tea a little bit more now. From all of us at Urasenke Tankokai Victoria, take care and we hope to see you again.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the tea ceremony. I hope it was educational.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, and one of the things we forgot to mention in the that first little blurb was you can send email. You'll see that the link underneath the buttons on the homepage. You'll see that you can send Yukari and I email to info@vncs.ca. And Dorothy, we got your email about the sake question that we'll direct to Shino later on when she's on. And another couple of folks, I think Louise and Susan, you were asking if this session is going to be available after the broadcast, and that is a yes.
Yeah.
So if you want to get more of this awesomeness, you can get a bunch of people over post-COVID and watch it in your house. And so who's up next?
Oh, the next is Ikebana. It's a live demonstration, and they're just setting it up.
That's right. We've got Susan and Michiko Sensei is going to be schooling us on the art of flower arranging, which is also a super popular presentation at the fair. It's always standing room only, and we're so lucky to have such great senseis in Victoria for things like tea ceremony and Ikebana.
Yeah, so VNCS has a Fujinkai, it's a ladies group, and that's where they learn the Ikebana. Is that a monthly thing, Susan? Twice a month.
Twice a month.
Yeah.
The Ikebana group meets and learns, and then at the fair, usually what happens is all the students put their own Ikebana displays together, and they're available for folks to see.
That's one of my favorite things to look at the fair. It's really beautiful.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Susan, are you guys just about ready to go over there?
I think we're good to go.
Okay,
awesome.
Well, take it away.
I'd like to introduce Sensei Michiko Seguev. She's been an Ikebana master for over 20 years, and she learned in Tokyo at the Sogetsu School. And she's been teaching the Ikebana group for VNC ever since it started. Right now, we're on Zoom. That's all we do. So she's doing Zoom lessons for us now. So, Ikebana originated with a Buddhist monk in the 6th century, but the school that we're doing, it didn't start until 1927 under Teshigahara. So Michiko learned at the Sogetsu school, and she's teaching us in that style. So she's in a Sogetsu school. You learn the basic forms first, and she's doing the very first form, basic upright moribana. Moribana is the dish that's flat. It's called a suiban. So she's going to set the first stem, which is called the shin. And shin is going towards heaven. And she's setting it, it'll be approximately 15 degrees from the vertical. And then she's cutting the soe, the second stem, for earth. And she's making it about 3/4 the size of the shin. And she's going to set it at approximately 45 degrees.
There you go.
And it's bending a little bit toward the guest, toward the front. every branch has got a front and a back, so she's making sure to get the front side of the branch facing the guest. Now, she's working on two things at once. The demo that she's doing is called Variation 8, where it combines a basic upright moribana and a nagiri, the tall one, variation number 4. So she's doing the branches for both of them at the same time, because there has to be some relation between the two containers. So she's got forsythia in both of them. Now, in the, do you have an extra can? No, doesn't matter. Oh yeah, I can. So in the flat dish, the moribana dish, she's using a needlepoint holder. It's very heavy, and with this you can make the branch lean and it won't tip over. But in the upright one, which is called nagiri, she has to fix the branches a different way. She has to fix them by using little twigs and making little forks and supports and crossbars. So it's all done with plant material. She's putting the dahlia, you'll see that on the yellow upright nagiri arrangement, the shin is the one that's going off to the side. So the shin is at a different angle in that variation, and there is no soe, and it's called a slanting arrangement. So the flower is called the hikai, and the hikai is arranged kind of low, and it will be the focal point. It nicely picks up the red on the leaves of the forsythia this time of year. The tall arrangement, nagiri, is the most challenging form. So beginners always learn the flat one first. And usually the beginners are so impatient. They want to use their nice containers and get into the tall nagiri arrangements. And then once they do it, they usually get very frustrated and I wish they'd never said that. Because it's much more challenging to fix your branches and flowers at the right angle when you're using only plant material. So she cut the rows. Did you see how she cut the rows under the water to draw up some moisture into it? And she's going to arrange the hikai. The yellow rows will be the hikai for the flat arrangement. And she's putting it as low. It'll be almost 75 degrees from the vertical and facing the guest. Then she adds subordinate stems to support the line of the hikai. So the one that she put first is the main one, and then she's going to have two supporting ones. You'll see that Michiko, because she's very advanced, she can make her arrangement from the back, and the rest of us are just learning that. So she's doing that for a purpose of demonstration. She makes it from the back and has to imagine how it looks to you, the guest. I like the way the yellow hikai on the moribana dish complements the yellow container for the nagiri arrangement. Now she's putting little bits of forsythia, because you know how we put the extra flowers to support the hikai, and now she's putting extra jushi, we call it, to support the lines of the main branch. On the moribana arrangement, the upright moribana that she did first, it's important that you can see the water. So the position of the kenzan is important. The kenzan is that heavy needlepoint holder. It's important to place that in the correct place so that the water is part of the arrangement. Of course, in the nagiri, you can never see the water. And she's always adding a little bit of jushi onto the back of the arrangements. We call that the obi. So imagine if I had a kimono, I'd have a big bow here. So the little branch on the back is called the obi, and it's mostly no one will see it because this arrangement would be placed against a wall and it would be facing forward. But we always put it there anyway, just in case. almost done, trying to cover up the kenzan with little bits of plant material. We call that hiding the underwear. We know it's there, but we don't need everybody to see it. Okay. Do you want me to do that? Oh. We forgot the garbage can.
Has anybody got a garbage can?
Well, we'll figure it out later. Just, how about if we just... So different than the live demo when we do it at the Squamish Rec Center. We have a garbage can at each end, and we just put all the stuff in there. Oh, here comes the garbage.
There we go. Gomi Baku to the rescue.
Yeah. She's finding little bits of forsythia to just fill in the base of the arrangement. The important thing is the line of the shin and the soe, but it's okay to cover up where there's some kind of construction material in the container. So it's the mystery of Ikebana. We know how she got those angles, but you don't have to see the parts that make it like that. Okay. Moving over. So that was variation 8, combined style. She's trying to make it perfect. Maybe today we don't have time for perfect.
That's okay. We'll need to move the mic stand.
This one?
No.
This one? She's going to be here. Yeah.
Okay.
So the second demonstration is called a vertical composition. She's looking for New Zealand flag. First of all, the container is a beautiful Japanese lacquer bowl. And the first material she's putting in is New Zealand flax. So this arrangement doesn't have all the strict rules about the sizes and the angles, but the important thing is that it should have a vertical impression. So she's tied up the New Zealand flax in advance to save time. That's good. So the main element is the flax, the vertical element. I can't see what she's doing. Oh, she's trying to cover something up. So she arranged the New Zealand flax by folding another piece around the base to hold them together. And she made a slit that I can see in the back. She made a slit in that leaf. And that's part of the architecture of the vertical composition. New Zealand flax is great for folding and making geometric shapes. Okay, and then she's going to also use Japanese anemone leaf. Boy, your Japanese anemone leaf, mine are all brown. Right there. So she has the leaf of the Japanese anemone, must be the last one of the year. And she's going to, still keeping the upright movement of the arrangement, but your eye will go to the New Zealand flax to be upright. And then she's going to add a peppercorn dahlia, if we can find it. Michiko-san, is that dried?
No.
It's not?
No, I need the water because green leaves.
Okay, it's not dried material. It looks like...
It's too short, so I need extra.
Oh, a little cheat. The stem was too short, so she took the stem of something else. You know how some plants have a sort of a hole in the middle, a hollow? And then she stuck the peppercorn dahlia into the hole to make the stem longer so that she could get the height that she wanted on it. I've never seen that material before, peppercorn flax. That's beautiful. It wants to droop over. Oh, you did it. And I didn't have that on my list. A dahlia. I left that off. Michiko, can you always put water in a lacquer container?
Yes, because miso soup container
Oh,
has a lacquer.
I have one and I was afraid to put water in it. Maybe now I'll try. Okay, so there you go. The vertical composition. Oh, she's not.
If you don't have a time, I'm going
Yeah, she wants to just cover up the construction parts.
time.
So the next one that she's going to do is more than 2 containers. So she's actually got 1, 2, 3, 4 containers. So the material she's putting in the small black one is cryptomeria. So something like the first 2 where you have 2 containers and you're trying to make a relationship between the 2, the same principle will happen here. When there's more than 1 container, you have to think about how you're going to relate them. So, and it's important to retain the simplicity, balance, and harmony between all of the elements. She's going to use forsythia here. No, sorry, alstroemeria. We use this. She's using alstroemeria. So this one will last a long time. Alstroemeria is long-lasting. And in the tall one, she's going to use sprayed allium. Apparently, leave it till later. Yeah. We spilled some water back here. In Japan, she'll be able to get material that has been bleached. It's hard to find here, so she spray painted the allium stems. It gives the same effect, but... kiwi. Sorry. Okay. Did you spray paint the allium also? Yes. Yeah. So kiwi vine that's been spray painted is the white one. And then we want the umbrella pine. That'll be dramatic. Umbrella pine and a gnarly bush. I'm very impressed that she made all these arrangements from the back and didn't even go around to check them. No.
This one is last.
Oh, is this the gnarly bush?
Yes.
Oh. A gnarly bush that's been painted white also. It looks like, is it willow? And sprayed allium again. Mm-hmm. Dried first and then sprayed. It's all red, white, and green. You can do this again at Christmas. She wants to have an element to set off the...
Thank you.
The black dish on the black tablecloth wasn't showing up well. That's a thing that we often do. We'll when making an arrangement for the VNCS fair and we want to make a display, we'll think about what mats and items we can put underneath the arrangements to set them off better. So having the black, we found that out in the Zoom lessons. If you have a black container on a black tablecloth and the camera's above, you can't see. It's like a phantom arrangement. So this last one she's going to do, we need to say something about this container. This is Michiko pottery, which is very typical of a certain region in Japan. And some of the lacquer is like that too. Different regions will have specific kinds of containers that are typical of their region. And she's going to do a horizontal arrangement in this one. So, was that kelp? Kelp, so dried kelp, which has a very nice, interesting texture and line, and Japanese maple that's not turned red. So this time she's using the kelp to provide a support for other things to rest on. So this is a low horizontal arrangement. No elements are going up like the shin that's going to heaven in the basics. So we don't need that in this kind of arrangement. It's, oh, you're running out of room? I can move this. Yeah. And then the floral elements on this are going to be lots of them. Japanese maple. We got Mexican orange. She was explaining to me, she wanted to use Japanese materials, but in Canada, sometimes you can't get all the things you want. So she's got Japanese maple and Mexican orange. It's an international display. And she's going to have lily, and the kelp is in. Oh, I can hardly wait to see what you're going to do next. It's going to have, are you still doing the sensu charms? Yes. Okay. Mexican orange, I didn't think that would be blooming at this time of year. Yeah? A little bit more. And she's going to add some decorations. Oh, we got the lily first. Lilies are very challenging to arrange in Ikebana class because sometimes a student will bring them, buy them at the store that afternoon, and they're nice and fresh and bring them to class. But by the next day, they're a completely different size because it's all opened up and then you have to redo the arrangement. But this one was nicely opened except for that one big bud to start with. You also have to be careful with lilies because some of them have a fragrance that's too strong for some people. And now she's going to add a fan. This is more like a celebration arrangement. And she's going to add a fan and a lucky charm. Nice. I can smell the Mexican orange. Oh, maybe it's the lily. Using a chopstick, to make a little stand for the fan so she can get it where she wants it. I haven't seen this arrangement before. Is it in your sleeve? arranging from the back. She has to imagine where she needs to fill something in and then reach around. Sometimes in these kind of arrangements, like this last one she did, you can't see some of the basic elements that we learn in the initial lessons. Like you can't see a lot of space. There's way more material. But your eye will go to certain lines. And it's interesting to use other material besides flowers. So the dried kelp and the Japanese fans make an interesting variation. And she's arranging some Japanese maple in the back for the obi, so that even though no people will walk behind, it'll still look nice from the back. Very nice. Did you have one more? Did you have a fan? I mean, another thing beside the fan? No. No. Okay, I misunderstood. I misunderstood this word, sensu. Sensu is a fan. And then it said, and Lucky Charm, so I thought there was something else coming.
That is the Lucky Charm.
Yeah.
The sensu is the Lucky Charm. I get it. Okay.
Very good.
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you. That's excellent. Thank you
That was
very much. That was,
beautiful.
you know, it's awesome because usually when we're at the fair, Yukari and I, like we're running around, we're working, we never actually get to see
We never
stuff,
get to see
right?
anything.
That's the
yeah.
first time I've actually seen
Yeah,
Ikebana. It's awesome.
This is great to see the process.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and just the speed at which you move.
That's a really good point because in class, she will often tell a student that you might take 1 hour to set the first branch, the shin, like on that far one. That's a basic upright. It's important to get that right, and then everything else
Right.
Yeah.
is in relation to it. But she does it. She's very speedy.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
And
why she's the sensei.
But I also think that she's trying to hurry so she could do 4 in this time.
Yeah,
she's
that
doing
was
a little
lot. Yeah.
bit faster than what is comfortable for her as well.
Right.
But great job, Michiko.
Yeah.
Right, thank you so much.
Otsukaresama.
お疲れ様でした。
Yeah, you saw it here first, folks. Speed Ikebana.
Right. All right. So
Well, that's great.
while they, I guess we have to get ready for the next segment.
Well, yeah, that's right. So we, this is going to be interesting because while you guys are still up there, we have got a special guest here that we are going to interview. We have Jordan Stanger-Ross.
Jordan here? I just saw him earlier.
Jordan, you are somewhere probably down there?
Oh, he's backstage. Oh,
Or
he's just coming
Oh, he's
out.
backstage. Okay. So
There he is.
yeah, we just got to get this man a microphone.
Yes.
And
I think this is the mic he's going to use.
yeah, do we have some of that? Do we have the disinfectant spray for that mic there?
Yeah, just so you know that I think you, like Craig and I are not wearing masks, but we have this special
We've got the wonderful plexiglass custom made by our very own Ken Watai. Arigato gozaimashita.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Thank you very much. And
But everybody else is everybody else is wearing masks.
everyone else
Yeah,
is being
unless
socially
you're
distanced
talking.
and or wearing masks. So Jordan, welcome to the fair.
Thank you. Yeah, there was a beautiful demonstration to be able to watch while I was waiting. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we might need to do, I think, is maybe do we have any more length on that microphone? I just think they're going to want to move the table off at some point, I guess, right? I don't know. It's our first time doing this, so we're figuring out on the fly.
Please pardon some of the noise in the background, but I guess Jordan and we can all.
Oh no, we're okay because we're going to go to our next pre-record. So then we don't have to take the tables off until we get there.
Oh, okay.
So we're good. It's all good,
right.
everybody. It's all
Welcome.
good. So, Jordan, so I mean, we've obviously seen you a few times, and you've been at different board meetings and made presentations. But for those folks who are at home and watching the fair, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, yeah. So I'm Jordan Stanger-Ross. I'm Associate Professor of History at the University of Victoria, and I direct a project, Landscapes of Injustice, that's dedicated to the dispossession of the property of Japanese Canadians in the 1940s, exploring the history before that dispossession and then after. And we've done work with a number of different sectors. So we have history books that have come out and articles, but also museum exhibitions, teacher resources at elementary and secondary levels, and websites and archives. So it's a big multifaceted project that's coming towards an end. Our official timeline is 2014 to 2021. So this is a really wonderful time where we're seeing a lot of the fruits of our work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and we've certainly been privy to some of that work. I know that we really appreciated the Landscapes of Injustice work around the Tea House initiative at the Esquimalt Gorge Park.
Yeah, yeah, that's been a wonderful opportunity for the project. So the members of the VNCS and Sugio in particular, the president, approached me and Mike Abe, who is also a member of VNCS, of course, and the project manager of Landscapes of Injustice. I guess now maybe 2 years ago, while the McLaughlin funds in Esquimalt were being allocated, and there was this question of whether to do something to honor the history of Japanese Canadians in Esquimalt, and also the destruction of the tea house had been there. So we were able, as Landscapes of Injustice, to join in that campaign and to add some new historical research, and also just the voice of the university and the project in support of that initiative. And so they're building a facility that's inspired by Japanese architecture and the grounds, and they're building up the gardens a bit that are there. And we have the opportunity to still be in conversation about that, and I'm hoping that they'll also do interpretive work around that building that will really convey that history in ways that the VNCS supports and that Landscapes of Injustice is able to support.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that was one of the most like a popular project. The tea house, everyone was so passionate about it. We got emails all the time from the people in Victoria or Esquimalt, like, what are we doing with the tea house? Are we going to build a tea house? What are we doing? So yeah, it was great. I'm very grateful to have Landscape of Injustice help us. And yeah, you were one of the key person to negotiate with the township of Esquimalt.
Yeah, we're still talking with them, and with folks from the VNCS, we did stations at the farmers markets, and we were on the Esquimalt Facebook, which is a surprisingly active Facebook group, and we were, and really, very popular support emerged among a range of ways in which Esquimalt could have spent that money. So I think we're not quite at the finish line. We need to make sure that that there is. The architecture is beautiful. The plans look beautiful. I really hope, and I know Tsugyo and the Takata family really hope that there's some work done now to convey the history there. The architecture is beautiful, but it needs to be accompanied by some work, I think, to make sure that the history is known, so that because many people who will come to that site to use that beautiful site, they should also know its history, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, that's really that is part of the work of the VNCS, as we were mentioning earlier about the Japanese Canadian gravestones down at Ross Bay Cemetery, and to keep the stories. We're very lucky in the VNCS to have our local historians, Gordon and Anley Switzer, who were, have so much knowledge, and Victoria, and kind of in general, and Esquimalt specifically, there's lots of history, and I think there's lots that we can learn, to make our world a better place.
Yeah.
And the Switzers, did absolutely great work that was foundational to what we did in that campaign as well. I guess some of your viewers might not know that history, so just very briefly, it was the first Japanese tea house in Canada in Esquimalt, and a garden that surrounded it. And so there's that history of contribution and accomplishment. And then in the 1940s, it was destroyed by looters and vandals. And then eventually, everything that remained was forcibly sold. And so there's that history of contribution, and also a history of injustice on that site in Esquimalt.
Absolutely. Well, that's the work is not done yet, and really we must we're very thankful to the township of Esquimalt has been a great partner in many different endeavors. Both, you know, the reconstruction of the Japanese garden at the Esquimalt Gorge Park, and then of course the Tea House initiative. While the popular groundswell from the public and interested parties, but Esquimalt is really, I mean, they've really taken it, you know, by the reins, and they're fantastic partners.
And the display we just had is part of why, right? All of the beauty and the kind of amazing creations of Japanese culture is part of what the township also sees, that there was something destroyed that's really a beautiful facet of life, and they want to, in the architecture and the grounds, they're planting a lot of trees to recreate some of that beauty that was lost.
Absolutely. Well, I think, thank you, Jordan, for joining us. We really appreciate it, and being, you know, okay with it. Where do I look?
Great event.
And we look forward to continuing our collaborative efforts on the ongoing work, and hopefully seeing a second phase of Landscapes of Injustice.
Hopefully, hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly. If there's anybody out there who's listening that, you know, can sign the,
That's right.
you know what you need to do.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
you
so
very
much.
much.
Bye-bye.
All right.
All right. Okay, so the next, coming up next is, that's a pre-recorded session.
That is right. So we've got some folks wearing kimono today. You would be one of them.
That's right. I'm very self-conscious about it, but so let's not talk about that. But the next session is Kimono by Hitomi Harama, and I think she goes by Kimono Hitomi.
That's right.
I think she has a YouTube channel as well.
Yes, she does. She is an amazing person and has like vast knowledge.
Oh, every time I see
kimono.
her, you know, just meeting her for lunch, she comes in this beautiful kimono, and I just have to stop her and, you know, just let me see your obi, let me see your kimono. What is this? Like, I love kimono, and one of the things I love about it is like so much history and story on each piece, right? Like obi and the pattern, season, and Hitomi is an expert on that. So she's going to talk about the history of kimono in this pre-recorded session.
Yeah, so please enjoy.
Enjoy.
I'm Kimono Hitomi, a specialist of kimono and Japanese culture. It's a pleasure to have the opportunity to talk for the Victoria Nikkei Cultural Society Fall Fair 2020 over online. Kimono are Japanese traditional clothing with a history of over 1,300 years. With the word kimono, many people might think of traditional Japanese attire for ladies. But kimono in Japanese language means things to wear, and is used as a general term for all clothing.
Let's see some variety of kimonos used in the past in Japan. For example, in Edo period, these two kimonos are for higher class people's kimono examples. This one is for ladies, and this one is for men. This one is an example of the commoner's kimono style, and this one is another example of the commoner's kimono. As you notice, this lady's kimono has an obi tied in the front side. These are some examples of farmer's kimono. This one is an example of traveler's attire, back in the Edo period. These are just a few examples of kimono varieties. Back then, the clothing and hairdo were strongly associated with social class system, and there were so many different types of kimono. Kimono were Japanese people's everyday clothing.
Nowadays, traditional kimono are not commonly worn as everyday clothing, but until around 1940, that was the mainstream everyday clothing of Japanese people. The Western clothing started to be used in Japan around 1900, first for the official class clothing.
When Japan started to open the country internationally, official class people adapted to wear European-style clothing, such as these. And as shown in these prints, they were basically adaptation of European clothing. It's a sort of a sidetrack, but interestingly enough, in Europe, there was a huge Japanism movement around 1900. Japanese arts and crafts as well as kimono became collector's items. And Japanese arts and kimono gave a great influence in Art Nouveau movement and ladies' fashion in Europe back then. This dress is made from kimono, changing the shape into Western dress style. And this lady's fashion is applying kimono style and hairdo to the shape of dress and hat. This photo shows European ladies' fashion somehow imitating Japanese ladies' kimono and fashion style. Back to Japanese kimono and social change, they went through terrible war times which destroyed vast amount and aspects of Japanese culture.
And after 1945, as Japanese culture got Americanized in many ways, kimono became less common. These days, traditional Japanese kimono are not worn as daily clothing anymore, but they are still part of core Japanese culture and worn by many people, particularly by those who engage in Japanese traditional cultural matters. For example, kabuki or no theater acting cannot be properly performed nor completed without kimono. Japanese tea ceremony practice cannot be well conducted without wearing kimono. And for people who practice Japanese martial arts, Budo, kimono is essential when carrying out their genuine skills and techniques.
For example, wearing kimono, including obi belt and hakama, men's trouser type of kimono, is necessary to wear Japanese sword properly and to move efficiently.
Kimono culture represents various aspects of core traditional Japanese culture, and by looking at kimono, we can learn about traditional Japanese culture. Various pattern designs of kimono, which are highly graphic, sophisticated, and something unique to Japanese art and culture, were created many hundreds or more than 1,000 years ago. And they are still used and appreciated as universal Japanese style designs. The pattern design of this kimono, for example, has seasonal flower pattern motifs, such as chrysanthemum.
Chrysanthemums are one of the favored flowers in Japanese culture, and chrysanthemum flower motifs are often used in kimono designs, particularly for the fall season kimono.
It is one of the features of kimono aesthetics to coordinate the design patterns and or color of your kimono to the timely beauty of the nature of each month or seasons.
One of the significant features of Japanese designs is that there are highly graphic iconic designs for various nature objects, such as chrysanthemum. These symbolized shapes of chrysanthemum flower, for example, are some of the well-known Japanese crest designs. And this chrysanthemum crest is used exclusively for Imperial House of Japan. Japanese designs are often highly respected with this sophisticated and iconic graphic application of nature items.
Traditional Japanese culture always shows great appreciation to nature, and it is well reflected to kimono culture. Not just their design aesthetics, but also the whole creation processes are highly organic.
When you look deep into kimono designs and the lifestyle, when Japanese people are wearing kimono on a daily basis, you'll be amazed how well they were harmonized with nature.
Thank you for watching this. I hope to see you again. If you are interested in what Japanese aesthetic styles and kimono cultures are, please visit my YouTube channel, Kimono Japan, and my website, umesilkkimono.com.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed Hitomi's presentation on kimono, and hopefully you learned more about kimono and the seasons.
Yeah. Well, now we're here with Shino Yamashiro from Ine Raw Food and Sake Bar, one of the Victoria's finest sake bar in Victoria. And she's going to talk to us about sake.
And answer your questions. We've been
Yes, we got lots of
questions
questions
coming in, and I
Thank
think
you.
Shino, you presented sake at last year's cultural fair.
That's right.
Right?
With Anton, our manager, he's also a sake sommelier. So two of us, we have so much passion bringing sake in Victoria, and we did a tasting as well, and then it was really fun. So I brought some sampler for you guys too.
I see that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Yukari and I have hardly eaten anything today. So
I know.
if your hosts
You
start
notice
rolling
my
off
face
the
get all
stage,
red. You can tell
you'll know
something's
why.
going on. Yeah. Okay. So did you want to talk a little bit about sake and food pairing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So sake and food pairing, I do have a lot of question from the guests that know about sake, because our sake bar is the largest selection of sake in Canada. Currently, we have 72 kinds of sake, which is the largest in Canada. And then a lot of wine lovers on the island. And people are curious about, is sake and food pairing is the same as a wine and food pairing? And it's a lot of similarity, but also it's only 20 minutes talk, so I wanted to make it really, one thing I want everybody to know that is sake doesn't pick fight with food. Sake is super food friendly. The reason behind that is, the big thing is wine has a tannin and acidity, higher acidity. So you need to consider about those elements to pair with foods. The really big one is, everybody knows that asparagus and very tannic red or oaky chardonnay really clashes. Actually, you taste metallic, and it's just really bad. But sake doesn't have that much clash. Sake has actually 10 times more amino acid, which amino acid is umami, actually, essentially. So sake has 10 times more umami flavor, no tannic at all, no tannin at all, and then super lower acidity. So it's super food friendly. So Italian food too, Indian food.
Anything?
I did a vindaloo curry with nigori sake, which is this cloudy looking sake.
Okay.
It goes well, really, really good.
Interesting.
So don't be afraid to pair any kind of cuisine with sake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
There you go.
Should we do the question or should we do the tasting?
Let's do tasting.
Well, yeah, let's just get right into it, man.
All right. What do we have here?
So the
Shino?
first thing I want you to try, so at the Ine Raw Food Sake Bar, we do have this 4 tasting sampler in front of you. I wanted to start from left-hand side.
Yep.
There's a little card.
Yep.
So that one is...
This is the Oni Koroshi?
Yeah, Oni
The
Koroshi.
demon killer.
Yeah, that's English translation, demon killer. So from the name, it sounds really, it's kind of
Strong.
strong. This one is, it's called Honjozo style.
Okay.
And this is very, I think, very familiar with
It
you.
smells good.
It's easy drinking. It's super light, dry.
Do you like sake, Craig?
You know,
Are you more a beer person?
I enjoy all alcohols, but
You don't
I
discriminate?
typically, like, I didn't, when I lived in Japan, I didn't drink a lot of sake. I just couldn't quite get into it. But when we
Right.
moved back, and sake started, like, more sake started showing up. And Nigori one was the, that pink one. It's like
Okay.
Sakura.
Sayuri.
Sayuri, right, yeah.
Oh.
And I really like that one.
That one.
And
Okay.
so I've opened the door a crack
Nice.
to say, I think sake could be something. But I haven't, you know, I mean, maybe one bottle a year I might get.
Okay.
Of sake. So you know what I mean? A special occasion like Thanksgiving or something, like instead of maybe white wine, having a sake. I have in the past, but
Nice.
today I'm learning, right? So-
I
Yeah,
love sake.
absolutely.
This one's very nice.
So this onikoroshi is Honjozo style. It's super similar to table sake. It's
Okay.
still premium, but it's very easy drinking sake. And next one is I wanted to go with this. It's called Kamoshibi to Kuheji. The design is really beautiful. I pour in actually wine glass. Sorry.
Oh, this is the wine
sorry,
glass?
the wine glass.
Let's be in
Because
the right
this
one.
one is the ultra premium, which is Junmai Daiginjo style.
Okay.
So I want you to. Also another thing, I want you to enjoy sake with the wine glass because this amazing aroma.
It is. It's got a lot of smell.
People get the cantaloupe and
Yeah,
like
I
a
do.
banana.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this one's a
it's
little
really
fruity.
That is
I'm
totally
sorry,
amazing.
you guys can't taste this.
We're really sorry, folks at home, but
sorry, not so sorry.
oh, but if you sent in your question,
Yeah.
we are at the end of the fair. We are going to pull a name out of that bowl. Now, the reason we're not pulling it right now is you've been sending in questions.
Yeah.
So we're going to get all the names in the bowl.
Just want to be fair.
and by
I
the
wanna
end of the
make sure-
fair, we
Yeah.
will pull one person's name who will get to enjoy the
The
very
free
sakes we're
sake flight
tasting.
At Ine.
At Ine, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so this is
This one's
beautiful,
lovely.
aromatic, very fragrant, super smooth sake.
Almost
which
a bit
is,
of, like, is there a bit of licorice?
Yeah, a lot
Right?
of people say
I
that.
got a little licorice hint in there.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Interesting.
Wow.
So yes, so a lot of people never try those kind of different style. So there are so many kind of sake. So this kind of opens up everybody's. Wow, this is the sake world. The next is the second one from.
Oh, this one.
Right? Yes.
Oh, second one from right. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, second one from left.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yes,
the
that's the one.
sinking
So we're
muku?
doing it
Senki
5
muku.
times.
Yeah.
So this one is ginjo style, which
Okay.
is so this the one with the wine glass. That's the ultra premium Junmai Daiginjo, and next grade is ginjo.
Okay.
So this one still have a really nice aroma. Super modern, easy drinking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's really smooth.
Yeah. This is interesting. I don't know. I like
So less aromatic
Yeah.
compared to the
Yeah.
Junmai Daiginjo.
That
still-
was just out of this world.
Yeah. This one's very
especially we are drinking out of wine glasses.
I think wine drinkers, if you had that, if that was your first sake, you'd be like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, what is going
Yeah,
on?
exactly. Great.
lovely.
Yeah,
Good.
so the third one is Junmai style.
Dewa? Is that
This
Dewa?
is a Dewazakura.
Dewa
Dewa no
Sakura.
Sato Dewazakura. This one is from Yamagata Prefecture. So this type of sake, it's called Junmai, and I want you to taste it first
Okay. Junmai.
and see what you get from. This is more,
It's like more mild.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
milder, mellow,
Yeah.
Right?
rounder, have a little bit more
The smell's kind of earthy,
Yeah, yeah.
It's got an earthy
exactly.
I
smell
was
to
gonna
it,
say
right?
water.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
But then it just is, yeah, like it's very mellow.
So the Junmai style sake is more earthy, as Greg said, more round, more umami is pronounced
Oh, yeah, I did.
because the rice grain is a little bit more left in rice grain.
It's not like a polish.
Yeah,
I
so
see.
the what ultra premium make is the rice grain will be polished down to 50% of the original grain, so almost
It's like, yeah.
pure starch. That the outer layer of the rice grain is protein, fat, and those are
when you make a sake, it's unwanted flavor and texture, so you want to get rid of those baggages.
Okay.
And then you want it to closer to the pure starch. So this is very closer to pure starch, which is a 50% polishing ratio. This is a 60%. So it's 60% is remaining, so 40% polished away.
Oh, okay.
And the junmai is 30%.
I see.
Okay.
So the 70% left.
So it has all the other elements.
Yeah,
and-
other component and more flavor.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? It's just different.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I often get confused with the
Exactly.
junmai, daiginjo, like which is better, but they're different.
It's just a different character, and
Yeah.
then it tends to be more expensive for the junmai daiginjo because polishing
Sure.
take very long
Yes.
time, labor intensive. That's why the price tended to be higher. So
Yeah.
people think better.
Yeah.
But
Right.
it's
See, now
no.
I understand. Like I've heard this explanation many times. Now I get it.
Yeah, that's right. The reason it's more expensive is because it takes longer to
Labor
make. It's more
intensive
expensive to
for the
produce.
the
Yeah.
pure starch. Okay.
And then the final one is I brought kind of
Ooh, that's-
unorthodox types of sake.
Yeah.
So the looking of it is
Nigori?
different. Yeah,
Right.
it's called nigori style. So it's
This
almost
is
like
from
a milk
Richmond, right?
milkshake. Yes, this producer is in Richmond, so it's a local.
Well, that's one of the questions that we had there, right?
Yeah.
So,
perfect.
somebody, where is it? Let me see. Maybe it's in the
Somewhere.
email.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, look, we've got more emails coming in from Drew and Brittany.
my
I
goodness.
think, let's see, was it from, oh, maybe it was Dorothy, maybe early on. Hold on.
Perfect.
Is any sake made in BC?
Yes.
Yes.
So
This one tastes like mushroom.
Oh yeah.
Like taste the mushroom. Yeah.
So this one, the reason why it's like a milkshake almost is it's very cloudy looking.
Yeah.
Texture as well, have a little bit
Yeah.
more creaminess to
Yeah.
it, because sake is usually crystal clear because there's a two process of a filtration, so it make it clear. But this one is unfiltered or
I see.
coarsely filtered.
Yeah.
So it's still a lot of rice out layer is remaining. That's why it gives a more creamy texture,
Yeah.
different, yeah.
I think that one, like I said, I got that Sayuri originally, and I
Yeah.
think that's like a good entry level
Yeah,
sake.
absolutely.
Like if you're not, like, instead of going buying a big bottle of sake, you're not sure, you can get that one, and then it is very smooth, it's very accessible.
The bottle is pretty too, the
Yes.
Sayuri pink bottle.
It is, yeah, it's got kind of that frosting
Yeah,
on it, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you got there,
Well,
Yukari?
should we go to the questions?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
let's go. This is a question from Cam. Lately, in the last few years, there have been more new styles of sake, including sparkling sake. Do sake experts like this trend? And is sparkling sake paired the same way with foods as regular sake, or is it different?
Great question. I love sparkling sake. I actually brought it today. These are the sparkling sake. So yes, I love this trend.
Okay.
It's very trendy in Japan too, but the market-wise, in market, it's still small. A lot smaller portion of breweries making sparkling sake. There is about 1,500 of brewer in Japan right now, and then each brewer making about 20 kinds of sake. So about 25,000 of sake out there
Yeah.
to try.
Yeah.
And then the sparkling sake in the market is about 150 to 200 bottles. So
Okay.
really it's 1%
Yeah.
of
Right.
the portion. So it's super small, but the popularity is really
Yes.
going
Yeah,
up so high.
that's nice.
And
And sparkling wine is kind of popular in Japan,
Exactly.
right? At New Year's, right? All the sparkling wines come out, so
it's celebratory
Yeah.
drink.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. It's good to see that.
And it can be paired with food and just like anything?
Yes.
Okay.
So I treat this sparkling sake as a prosecco. So
Yeah.
with the fresh oysters and
nice.
Nigori sparkling sake goes amazingly
my
well.
gosh, yeah.
But also sparkling sake have two types in. There are two types of sake, two types of sparkling. One is CO2 gas injected,
Yeah.
which it's kind of like so after you made the sake, it like a soda stream almost.
Yeah,
so
you
inject the CO2 and then it make a bubble. And that one contain 15 to 18% of alcohol content. So which is same as regular sake alcohol content. But the other one, so this is the CO2 gas.
Okay.
And this is second fermentation. So it's a champagne method almost.
okay.
This is the mainstream. Most of the sparkling sake out there is this
They're
style.
fermented.
Yeah.
The second fermentation. So
I can't imagine sake brewers like, and then we're going to inject CO2 into it, right? You know, it just is kind of incongruent with Japanese culture, right?
but I did actually experiment that sake I like, and then I put in a soda stream.
Oh, yeah.
And make try to make my own sparkling sake.
Yeah, how
it was
was it?
pretty good.
Really? So that works
It
too.
is fun to experiment those things.
Yeah.
There you go, folks. You heard it here first.
The sommelier says it's okay. So okay, let's go to the next question. This is from Miho. She says, I bought a few bottles of sake from Japan that I liked. I tasted it at local sake store. When I brought it back to Japan, the sake taste changed. Similar thing happened here in Canada. I got sake in Toronto and brought it back to Victoria, and the taste changed. I want to know how to store sake properly.
So the big thing, what damaged sake is the oxidization. So once if she were in Toronto and then open sake, and then when you bring it back, it will oxidize it, and the taste will really off.
Okay.
Especially those ginjo style, the premium style, because the aroma is the core of this sake.
Yeah.
Or another big thing is sunlight.
Okay. Yeah.
If it's exposed in sunlight or the really, really hot, sometimes when I go liquor store on the room temperature shelf and it's super close to the light, that will
Okay.
That'll
So you
impact it.
think it's
Really
already, it's
impacted.
possible it's already been kind of damaged in the store, even if it's not open?
Yeah. Or when it's
okay.
actually imported from Japan, how
Yeah.
you brought in container.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if, because what I've noticed, I have no idea if there's a correlation here, but like when, my mother-in-law ships over Ghana chocolate bars, right? Usually when we get them, like there's some oxidation
Right.
on them,
right.
and I think it has something to do with how it's stored in the plane.
Yeah.
When because it's all pressurized, and I don't know what the temperature is in the luggage. But I was wondering if this particular question about transporting sake, if it was in checked luggage. Like because I've shipped bottles of wine from Japan or whatever, and whiskey when they would allow it, and they were always fine. So I just wondered if maybe either the air pressure or the temperature change in the plane, maybe that affected the sake.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
possible.
definitely.
Like I'm just making stuff up here. I have no idea.
No, I think I recommend if you have a box, that'd be nice. So
Oh, that's
doesn't
what the
expose
box is
to the
for, yeah.
That's right.
And, or like with
Box
the
it, wrap it, bubble wrap it,
bubble
everything.
wrap it. Yeah,
Protect
definitely
it
to bubble wrap.
from everything. Give it a blanket. Protect it from the sunlight.
Treat it like a baby.
And then if you go liquor store, ideally the liquor store sake in the fridge is the best.
Right.
So I always recommend vintage wine in Victoria.
Okay.
They have a 12 amazing selection of sake, and then they store.
So can we buy all of these sakes in Victoria?
Not all of them.
Okay.
But they do have sparkling sake, and
Yep.
then they store everything in the fridge.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, which is amazing. I never seen in the city.
Oh, that's good. So we did have a question come in from Melody, and she asked if the audience could see the titles more closely, so that they can read the labels and the spelling. And then, are they available to buy at the sake bar? And some idea of price would be good
But
too.
these are available to drink at Ine, right?
So if somebody came down to
everything
Ine,
is
they could buy some of
Yeah,
this.
but the purchasing a bottle in liquor store, it's a
is
little
not necessarily
different.
available at the liquor store because maybe Ine is importing some stuff directly,
so,
or
yes, so these are called spec item, the specialty order.
okay.
So BC liquors, unfortunately, those are not available. Neither any of these are available at the BC liquor store. So you need to come to Ine.
Yeah.
But yeah, the price point wise, it's a really good question. Although if you really wanted to buy these kind of sake, you could. You need to just go to the customer service desk, and then you need to buy a whole case.
Oh, I
But
see.
that's the way you
Okay.
can do that.
Right.
Wow.
But I guess, you just need to look around and, because I know a lot of the private liquor stores,
Yeah, exactly.
they have more selection
Yeah.
of different things because they decide to, get a case
Yeah.
and then sell it. So I
Yeah.
guess the you have to sleuth. You got to look around, find the stores.
So
right.
what we really wanted to bring sake to super approachable for everybody. One of the big thing is the price point is very high, and then also the labeling. People have no idea. There's no English printing or anything sometimes.
Right.
So that's what we are talking to the liquor stores and try to bring more sake easier to see, identified, and then store properly. I have a couple great liquor store I know in the city, which is I told before, the Vintage Wine
Yep.
and Vessel.
Vessel,
It's very
yeah.
good.
Okay.
They have about 25 or 30 kinds of sake.
Wow.
And also Cascadia
Yep.
is really good too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I've been noticing that lots of liquor stores
Yeah.
I think
are
it's
increasing.
it's popular,
Increasing.
right? It's
Yeah.
getting like almost trendy to have
Yeah,
sake.
it
That's
is.
great.
Okay, I don't think we're going to be able to get through all of our
I know,
questions.
so many
But so there's one quick one here was from Tim. This is one of the early ones we got. Was why do some high-end sakes taste like black licorice?
that's exactly
Right?
what
Because
you
I
said.
said there's kind of hint of licorice in there.
Yeah. So the sake, the reason why is that, well, I didn't get the black licorice because I don't know the black licorice. It's
Right.
kind of like
yeah, I know.
You don't know the
As
flavor.
a Japanese person,
Yeah.
we're not that familiar with
yeah,
the flavor.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I do get a lot of bubble gum or licorice,
Okay.
black licorice from
Yeah.
the guest. And for me, honeydew melon,
Yeah. Yeah.
something like that.
Okay.
Very tropical note. The reason is the biggest factor is the rice polishing. So if it's the rice is closer to 50% polishing, that gives such a smooth, super aromatic flavor. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Feel like there's no sugar added
Right.
at all, but it's very sweet. Also, the way the brewmaster used different kind of yeast. The yeast is very big part too. So
Okay.
they are using a certain type of yeast for each different category, and then tended to be the yeast will be more aromatic
Yeah.
character.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think maybe Shino, what would be great is if you're cool with that, we will provide all of the questions and emails to
I
you,
can-
and then you can respond to
Yeah,
folks
that's
as because there's
Response
there's
to
I mean
everybody.
there's awesome
Lots
like
of questions.
there's one here about yogurt sake. There's another one about I'm as a cook. I'm most interested in the use of alcohol to deglaze or marinate. This is from Drew. Which sake is best to use for these kind of purposes? And I think that you might need to unpack that a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah,
and
yeah.
maybe
Absolutely.
get back to him. But yeah, just great questions, I think, from everybody.
It's very popular. Well, before COVID, we almost had a sake event with Ine and VNCS, and that didn't work out. So if anyone's interested in sake event, I don't know, virtually.
We've been talking about
please
doing
email
like
us because we wanted to have
because in the city we've got beer fest, we've got whiskey fest, we got all this stuff, and it's like, wouldn't it be great if we could do a sake event? And then Ken Watai, who's the treasurer
That's
for
right.
the VNCS.
Yeah.
He actually sits on the board of like Sake BC or something, right?
Yeah.
And they do big one in Vancouver. And he's always like, Craig, there's just not enough people drinking sake in Victoria.
Yeah.
And thanks to Shino and Ine and other, restaurants and liquor stores that are bringing sake, I think maybe in a couple of years, we might be
Yeah.
ready for like, you know, a proper right-on sake tasting
Oh, I would
festival
love
where
that.
we can showcase all of this wonderful.
So if you're
wonderful
watching and
sake.
if you want sake festival, please email us.
That's right. and if you'd like to volunteer to
Yes.
help us, that'd be even better. Because Yukari and I, like, we love the VNCS, obviously,
Yeah.
but we can't actually run every single
Everything.
event.
Yeah. That's a good
Right?
segue.
We're always looking for volunteers. If you're
Yes.
interested in anything even remotely Japanese Canadian culture, wine, food, art, come and join us in the VNCS. We're always
Yes.
looking for more people to help make our events always better. Awesome. Well, thanks, Shino. Really
Thank you so
appreciate you
much.
coming in and answering all those questions. And we absolutely will, get everybody's names in the bowl.
Yes.
Because I know everybody's like, you didn't put my name in the bowl, did you? Right?
Yeah.
We're going to get everybody's name in the
do that,
bowl.
yeah.
We're going to cross-check it. We'll get Patty working on that. And then at the end of the fair, we will pull the lucky name for the person who can get the free flight down at Ine.
Yeah.
And we just thank you for your time. Really
Yeah,
appreciate
thank
you.
you so
And your
much
mind.
for
We are
having
so
us.
amazed at how much information you've
Yeah.
crammed in there. It's great.
ありがとうございました。
Arigatou gozaimashita.
All right.
Okay.
So next we're going back to a pre-recorded session.
Yes, we are.
The next one is from Umi Nami Farm.
Umi Nami Farm. That's perfect because we just talked about, sake, and now we're gonna get a presentation on
Enjoying
daikon.
daikon.
Daikon. So I learned this, I don't know, maybe a couple years ago, that the shredded daikon that you get underneath like salmon sashimi, because that's pretty much all I order when I go to Sushi Story, and we live in a
Sushi
small
Story, yes.
right? And just a plug, they support the fair, so
Yes,
we like to go
yes,
there.
big supporter.
That the shredded daikon is really good for digestion.
Yes.
I heard, right?
Yes.
And I love that about Japanese stuff. We've got a garnish on our plates in the West, right? It's like that garnish is totally useless. Like you
Right.
get like no value out of it,
Right.
right? But then shredded daikon, like not only is it great from a color perspective because you got your red salmon on top of white daikon, but it's super good for your digestion.
Yeah,
So
it's like a lot of wisdom
Yep.
in like a food pairing.
So the
in
next
Japan.
time you go for your dinner out for Japanese food and you see that daikon, dip it in some
Yeah,
some
you're
soy
supposed
sauce
to eat it.
and do your belly a favor.
Awesome. Okay, so let's go to the presentation from
All
Umi
right,
Nami Farm.
let's hear from Umi Nami Farms.
Enjoy.
Welcome to Umi Nami Farm. My name is Heather, and this is daikon. Daikon is a very important vegetable in Japanese cuisine, and so today I would like to talk about a few simple ways that you can enjoy eating daikon at home, and also share a few quick tips for growing daikon in your home garden. One super simple way to eat daikon is by making daikon oroshi. Daikon oroshi is simply grated daikon, very finely grated daikon. You would make this by cutting a section from the root and then grating it either using a grater plate like this or a super fine grater like this. You can find kitchen tools like this at Japanese stores such as Fujiya. Now this would be served typically with some kind of oily food, for example, mixed into the dipping sauce for tempura, or maybe served alongside an oily fish like mackerel that's been grilled. The nice thing about the daikon oroshi is that the freshness of it really complements the oily food well. But also, the daikon has an enzyme that helps your body digest fat better. And so that way, you feel a lot better after eating the fatty meal. Another simple way to enjoy raw daikon is just to cut little medallions like this. You can eat these plain or with your favorite dipping sauce. I know some people whose kids really love this. Daikon can also be used to make a variety of pickles. For example, this is a purple daikon variety that we use to make a kind of short-term pickle by mixing it with salt and then adding vinegar and putting it in the fridge for a while. Daikon is also prepared with a more long-term fermentation to make foods such as takuon. So daikon is really great raw, but daikon is also really great cooked. This is just a simple miso shiru, where we cooked the chopped daikon in broth before adding the miso. Daikon is also very popular for hot pot. It's also good for stir fry. The nice thing about cooked daikon is it's really good to eat it in the winter because the cooked daikon helps raise our body temperature so that we keep warm in the winter more easily. With so many different ways to enjoy daikon, it's really become one of my favorite vegetables. But to tell the truth, the first time I had daikon in the supermarket, I really wasn't that impressed. It wasn't until I had real, locally grown, freshly harvested daikon that I realized just how beautiful this vegetable can be. And so if you want, you can find our daikon at Fujiya, but you can also grow your own daikon in your own home garden. Now the thing with daikon is, it's a pretty big vegetable. The name literally means big root, and more than half of this big root is under the ground. That means you need about this much depth of nice loose soil to be able to grow good daikon. Around here, we just don't have that kind of soil usually. And so what we do here at Umi Nami Farm is we make a raised mound. So as you can see here, we've made a raised mound where the top of the mound is about half a foot to a foot above the surface of the rest of the soil. And then on top of that, we plant the daikon seeds. And as you can see, the daikon grows with about maybe a third of it above ground and 2/3 below ground. The other really important thing for growing daikon is you need to get the timing right. If you plant daikon first thing in the spring, when the air is still cold and the soil is still cold, the chances are your daikon is not going to grow well. The best time to plant daikon is June 21st to August 15th. If you plant in that window when the soil is nice and warm, especially in the later part of that window, like July through August, then you're likely to get really nice big roots. The nice thing with getting fresh daikon is you can also eat the leaves. These leaves can be eaten the same way you eat kale. There is so much more I could say about growing daikon and about eating daikon, so I invite you, if you would like to know more, you can reach us at uminamifarm@gmail.com. Thank you so much for joining today's presentation, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the cultural fair.
Okay, we're back. Hope you enjoyed Heather from Umi Nami Farm. And as you know, you can get Umi Nami vegetables at the Moss Street Market when it's operating, because it doesn't operate in the winter. And also Fujiya.
Fujiya too.
Right.
Umi Nami Farm has this amazing strawberries in June. So that's something to remember.
Yeah, they've got...
Not just like a winter vegetables.
Yeah. They've got, they do some amazing vegetables, and just their whole philosophy around, you know, the kind of the Japanese organic approach to farming and stuff is great. Well, I mean, again, we are so blessed. We're so lucky, you know, here on Vancouver Island to have just amazing Japanese gurus, experts in their fields who can share with us, and it's so fun to showcase them right in the virtual cultural fair. Okay. So, reminders, we should probably put some reminders out.
Yes. So we have silent auction happening at 32 auctions. Can't remember the number of items, maybe 60 something?
Yeah, there's like 60. Oh, speaking of sake, right? Because there are some sake sets, right, that are available in the auction. So if you're looking for a sake set to go with your new bottles that you're going to be picking up, well, you just go over to 32 auctions and you can pick that up. And then, of course, also directly below the feed, there is a link to Canada Helps for donations if you are enjoying the fair and would like to support the work of the VNCS. And the survey.
Yes, please let us know what you want to see. Do you like what we're doing or not?
What else would you like to see more of?
Yes.
And, you know, is this something that we should be incorporating into our in-person fair when we get back to the Esquimalt Rec Center when the pandemic is finally over? Yeah. And what do we have up next?
Next is Kamishibai. Do you know what Kamishibai is?
I know a little bit about it just because I've seen it. We've had it at the fair a couple of times.
Yeah.
But don't really have all the background. What do you know?
Kamishibai means kami is paper, shibai is play or theater. So it's a form of Japanese street theater.
Okay.
So olden days when we didn't have TV, like there was a Kamishibai artist. He would come to a neighborhood in this wooden frame, kind of like this, but you can put picture in here, and he'll slide the picture and read the story, and not just the regular story time. He would just really act it out, and it's adventure, and the kids will gather, and he'll also sell candies for little kids. I'm not old enough to personally
I've seen it
enjoying that, but I know what it is, and like I haven't seen actual traveling Kamishibai artist or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it was a thing until TV came along.
Right.
It just sounds fascinating. So the one that Yuri Sensei is doing today is a more modern version.
Okay.
It's kind of like a picture storytelling, but she has board of paper pictures, and she will tell the story, and she translated it into English just for today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, that whole theme of we're really lucky to have these really experienced Japanese folks who are just so happy to share culture with us. And okay, well then I guess without further ado, we should let you enjoy Kamishibai.
Hi, my name is Yuri Pomeroy, and today I'm going to do some Kamishibai for you. Kamishibai is a form of street theater and a storytelling that was popular during the Depression of the 1930s and a post-war period in Japan. And today I'm going to do two Kamishibai. One is Yamamba that was eaten, and the other one is a very popular story called The Man Who Made the Flower Bloom. The Japanese title is Hanasaka Ji-san. Okay? So, here we go. Yamamba that was eaten. Yamamba is a mountain witch. We call it Yamamba. Can you all say this? Yamamba. Long, long time ago, there was a temple at the foot of the mountain where a Buddhist monk and little monk lived. One day, when little monk went to a mountain to pick chestnuts, he met an old lady. Hey, little monk, I'm your auntie. I'm your little brother's sister's wife's auntie's sister. That sounds complicated, he said. Whether it's difficult or easy to understand, I'm your auntie. Now you see, you must come to visit me tonight. I'll cook up many, many chestnuts for you. Then, the old lady chuckled and went away. The little monk ran back to the temple and told the monk the story. Monk shook his head, said, "That's a lie. The old lady is Yamamba, a mountain witch. You should not go. She will eat you up." "But I really want to go. If she's Yamamba, all I have to do is run away. Please, let me go." "Well, if you really insist, make sure to take these tickets." And monk gave little monk 3 tickets. Little monk was happy to receive the tickets and left the temple. "Oh, you came. Glad you came. See, the chestnuts are cooking. You eat as many." Little monk sat in front of the fire pit and ate until he was very full. Little monk became so sleepy he was falling asleep. The old lady told him, "Go to sleep." And she let little monk sleep in the next room. In the middle of the night, little monk suddenly woke up, and it was raining. Then he heard someone singing, "Oh no, it's dangerous, dun dun dun. Oh no, it's dangerous, dun dun dun." Little monk felt unsafe and woke up quietly, and then he looked into the next door. In the next room, the old lady was sitting by the fire pit singing, "Did the boy sleep? Did the boy sleep?" as she was spinning the thread with the spinning wheel. The old lady has become the mountain witch, Yamamba. Her eyes were big, her hair was standing, her mouth was all the way to her ears. Little monk was surprised and decided to run away. But as soon as he moved a bit, Yamamba said in her very scary voice, "Where do you think you're going?" "Oh, I'm just going pee." Then Yamamba stood and she tied the boy with her obi, the kimono sash. "If you want to go pee, you go. I will not let you run away." Then whoosh, she pushed the little monk, and little monk went to the bathroom with obi around the waist, and he took the obi off and tied it around the pole. And then the boy then put one ticket the monk gave him. "Ticket, please be me." And he ran as fast as he could. Because little monk did not come back for a while, Yamamba pulled the obi. "Are you done yet?" Then the ticket answered, "Not yet, not yet." Yamamba asked again, "Are you done yet?" "Not yet, not yet." "Are you done yet?" "Not yet, not yet." "What? What long pee? Come out quickly." Yamamba pulled the obi as much as she could, and then the pole came out right towards Yamamba, still saying, "Not yet, not yet." "Ouch, ouch, you little boy, you ran away." Yamamba jumped and started to run with a very angry face. "Wait, you little monk." The little monk ran as fast as he could, but Yamamba flew like wind as soon she caught up with little monk. "Wait, you little monk." With her arm reaching out, little monk took out another ticket from his kimono, and then he threw it backwards. And he said, "Come out, big river." Huge river came out and the water started to flow out. "Ah," Yamamba said, "it's just river, it's just river." And then she jumped into the river and started to swim. "Wait, you little monk." She was getting very close to little monk. And little monk threw another ticket. She said, "Come out, big sand mountain, come out, big sand mountain." Then soon a huge sand mountain stood behind the little monk. Yamamba ground her teeth and said, "Ah, it's just a mountain." Then started to climb up. She took one step, then the sand fell out. She took another step, then more sand fell out. Yamamba ground her teeth and said, "Ah, it's just a mountain, it's just a mountain." And then she climbed the mountain with all her might, and finally she went over the mountain and getting close to little monk. Little monk ran as fast as he could and came to the gate of the temple. "Dum dum dum dum, dum 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 dum. Monk, monk, please open the gate. Yamamba is coming." "Oh, Yamamba, I told you so. Please, please, Yamamba is very close." "Oh, don't rush. Just be patient. Quick, quick, please. Let me put my kimono on. Oh, please be quick." And monk finally got up and hid little monk into the cupboard. Then soon, Yamamba came running inside the temple. "Oi, senior monk, little monk just came here. Make him come out." "Little monk? No, he never came." "What? You can't fool me. I know he's here." "Oh, wait. Calm yourself down. Why don't you have some mochi?" "Mochi? Oh, that sounds good." Yamamba all suddenly felt hungry. And Yamamba sat around the fire pit and she started to eat mochi. The monk said to Yamamba, "Hey, Yamamba, I heard you can disguise to anything. Is that true?" "Of course I can. Shall I disguise?" And Yamamba tapped the edge of the fire pit and said, "Takakuzu, takakuzu, takakuzu yo," and started to cast a spell. And she became a scary monster. "Yeah, not so scary. You disguise so well," monk said to Yamamba. "But hey," "What?" Yamamba said. "I don't think you can disguise to something little." "What? I told you I can disguise to anything." "I see. But not to a little pea." "A little tiny pea?" Of course I can. Let me show you. Hikutsugu, hikitsugu, hikitsugu yo. And Yamamba soon became very small and became a little tiny pea. Oh, Yamamba, good job. You really disguised into a little tiny pea. Monk took the pea with a chopstick. He ate Yamamba. Gochisousama. And that's the end of the story. Oshimai. Okay, so another story is called The Old Man Who Made Flowers Bloom. The Japanese title is Hanasaka Ji-san. Ji-san means old man, and Hana means flower. Hanasaka Ji-san means the old man who made flowers bloom. Once upon a time, there lived an old man and his wife. Since they did not have any children, they lovingly cherished their dog called Shiro. One day, Shiro was digging in a field. Dig here, woof woof! Dig here, woof woof! Went Shiro. Oh, you want me to dig here? Okay, I'll start digging. After digging a while, what do you think he found? Whoa, that's amazing! Out from the ground came a bag bursting with gold coin, some large and some small. But there was a greedy old man who lived in the next house, and he heard all of this. I would also like to get my hands on some of those gold coins. Lend me your dog for a while. The greedy old man then forcibly took Shiro by the scruff of the neck and walked off. Whimpering, coo, coo, Shiro unwillingly dug at the ground and revealed what seemed to be a lot of bad-smelling rubbish. Blah! What a useless dog you are! The greedy old man caught Shiro and beat poor Shiro to death. When the old man and his wife found Shiro, they cried and cried. Then they buried Shiro in the field and put a stick in the ground as a grave for him. Shiro, Shiro, we'll visit your grave every day to pray. When the old man and his wife went to the field the next day to pray at Shiro's grave, they were surprised to find that the stick they had put in the ground had turned into a giant tree overnight. The tree was making whistling sound. It was the sound of Shiro's voice, and the voice was telling the old man and his wife to make a motor from the tree trunk. Make a motor, make a motor. Shiro, Shiro, I understand. We'll make a motor. So the old man and his wife cut a tree and made a motor from the tree trunk and pounded rice for rice cakes. Let's bring the rice cake to Shiro. They made rice cake. Petang, petang. But then, a strange thing had happened. From out of the rice cake came all sorts of treasure and such. Thank you, Shiro. We owe you. The greedy old man had been listening nearby again, and he was so jealous. I also wish to pound some rice and receive treasure like you. Lend me your motor now. The greedy old man then snatched up the mortar and took it home to make rice cake with. But no matter how hard he tried, all he got from their mortar were rocks and stones. What a useless mortar you are! The greedy old man then picked up his axe and split mortar in two and burnt it until all that was left was ash. The old man took the ash home with him in a basket. I'm sorry, Shiro. But then a strong wind blew up and sent the ash flying, and presently it landed on a dead tree. Then what do you think it happened? The dead cherry tree suddenly burst out in full bloom and came back to life. The old man became very cheerful once more. I will make the whole tree bloom again. There you go. Fly, ash, fly. Make the dead tree bloom again. The old man then continued to throw ash all over the tree, and cherry blossom bloomed in every place, and everyone was happily cheered. At that time, the lord of the local castle was riding by. Whoa, this is a remarkable thing. The lord was so pleased with what he saw. Then he presently showered the old man with gifts of all sorts. But the great old man had been watching again. Hey, I will also make the flower bloom and receive present for sure. Hand over the ash to me. He then grabbed the ash from the old man and spoke up to the Lord. Lord, this is my ash. I will make this dead tree bloom once more, so please reward me for it. Fly, ash, fly. The greedy old man tried to make the flowers bloom, threw all the ash up in the air, but nothing happened. But the ash went into the Lord's eyes. The angry Lord did not give any rewards to the greedy old man. And that's the end of the story. Oshimai. Thank you for listening to my Kamishibai.
All right, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Hopefully you learned something about Kamishibai
I
from
hope you enjoyed the stories.
Yuri Sensei.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we had Natsuki Abe was going to be joining us. She is a board member with the Victoria Nikkei Cultural Society. She is not feeling well, so she's not able to join us. And so we hope, Mike, if you're watching, Natsuki, if you're watching at home, please know our thoughts are with you and hope you get better soon. And we definitely want to plug the Heritage Committee for you.
Right.
So the Heritage Committee is a new group that's been stood up in the VNCS to specifically look at and continue to support the heritage of the Japanese-Canadian population in Victoria, and not just Victoria. But one of the main focuses, as we've mentioned before, is the Japanese gravestones, Japanese-Canadian gravestones down at Ross Bay Cemetery. And it was in August.
Yes.
Right? Natsuki and Mike were able to do a socially distanced walking tour down at Ross Bay Cemetery, and also did a virtual event where people could connect and find out more about the gravestones. And I know that the Heritage Committee's got a bunch of stuff that they would love to be doing right now if we weren't in the middle of a pandemic. Right. And so if you are either a member of the VNCS or are thinking about joining the VNCS, we've got opportunities galore for volunteer work. And so if you are interested, you can reach the Heritage Committee. We've got an email for them now. I think it's heritagecommittee@vncs.ca.
I'm not sure.
You can always email info@vncs.ca and we'll get it to them. But we just switched websites, so we are in the midst of getting everything organized. But if you are interested at all in joining the Heritage Committee, we would be more than happy to have your support.
Yeah. Great.
Okay.
Okay, we also wanted to remind you about the 32 auctions, and I have some of the items here. Let's go with this kimono items. I think this is a men's kimono. I don't know if I can spread it out very well. And it has a mon.
Oh yeah. Well, let's see. Here, pass it over, and I can stand up.
Okay.
We're kind of limited in the amount of cable we have on our microphones.
So I think it's a haori. Like haori means you just literally put it on you.
You just
put
it
like
on,
a light
put
jacket.
it on like that.
Yeah. It's really cool.
And then
the mon, it's like the family crest. I don't know which family this is from.
Well, let's find the mon there. Where is it? I saw it somewhere.
There's one behind the collar.
There it is. There's one. Oh yeah, behind the collar would be bigger, right?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not. So I don't know if you can get a zoom in on that.
It looks like some sort of flower. Is
yeah,
it a plum?
It does. I don't know. Somebody out there knows.
So that's one of the auction items.
Right.
We also have jinbei, right? This is a men's yukata.
Right, that's worn in the summer, right?
Yeah,
in fact,
have one.
My
husband has one too.
I have 4 of these at home.
All the Japanese guys in Victoria.
And it's funny because the way, I can't really show everybody, right? But
there you go.
The way you
That literally
put
looks
that on.
just like the one my husband
Right.
has.
Yep. And then you just tie that up. So it's definitely
It's
summer
so
wear.
nice and cool.
And what I've taken to doing in Canada here is I just wear the top with jeans. So
Okay.
they do come with shorts,
Yeah.
right? But it's a great thing in the summer.
Yeah, it's
I quite
nice
like
and
them.
airy.
It's
Yeah, so
super light material.
That's one of the items on the silent auction.
I might even just pick that up myself. I'd like
I
that.
know, right?
And this is an LL. So in Japan, it would be elu,
Elu,
which is more like large here.
Here, yes,
right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not because there's like L, then there's like LL, then
Yeah.
there's elu.
I don't know if we have
Triple
three
L. I
L's
think
in
there
Japan.
is, right?
Okay.
Anyway.
Also, we have like a children's package, and this is one of the items in the package, like a gift basket. This is a book, Mixed Critters by Jeff Cheever Stearns. He's a Japanese-Canadian illustrator. He's based in Vancouver, and we've worked with him many times. So this is a ABC Books. It's a mixed critters, so it's like a mixed heritage. That's his message. And this
Right.
one is autographed. So this is one of the items in the gift basket. And we also have, well, we just watched the Ikebana.
Mhm.
This is a special, like, Sears, right? Scissors or Sears?
Shears.
Shears.
Shears, yeah.
Having an ESL moment here.
Hey, it's all good.
Shears.
Yeah, Shears.
Sears is a department store.
Sears is a department store where you buy your shears.
That's right. So this is a specific one to cut the like a flower, like a stems and stuff. Very sharp. Japanese scissors are amazing.
Yes.
Super sharp. So this is also one of the items for the silent auction if you want to place a bed. And obviously we have many more items. So
Yes.
please go and check it out. The link is underneath our stream.
Yep,
Screen.
it's right there,
Yeah.
32 auctions. Just click the button, and it will take you right over to the site, and you can see, I mean, there's lots of items.
Art, tickets,
Totally.
gift
And
certificate.
thanks so much. We got to really thank our sponsors, for the fair.
Yeah.
In a regular fair year, many Victoria businesses support the cultural fair. Obviously, this year, with not having an in-person thing where we've got 1,000 people, like Tsugio mentioned at the beginning of the fair, the National Association of Japanese Canadians stepped up and gave us a grant because, as you might know, broadcasting live is not inexpensive. We've got a wonderful company here, Roll Focus, who is all the crew. It's awesome. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
And also the Township of Esquimalt also is a sponsor for the fair. But then when you look at the items in the auction, many of these are donations from local businesses and families. And so we just thank you as always. We couldn't do the fair without everyone who steps up to support, all of our volunteers. We've got, Hannah and Hina down there who are our stage crew today. And we've got Patty and Maureen and everybody else are out in the lobby, and they're making sure that everybody gets ferried in and ferried out. And they're just making the cultural fair, the virtual fair, go so smoothly. And so we're just very thankful for all of our sponsors.
Well, we're doing a minimum number of people too, right? Because of COVID, we didn't want to have everyone here, so it's very, very select.
Yes,
very good
it's only if you're working.
Only the best people working.
If you're working, you're here, and they're socially distanced out there with their masks on.
Yeah.
And up next
is another live demonstration by Lynn Howard-Gibbon. She's a sushi chef at Sen Sushi.
Sen Sushi,
Yes.
one of
My
the
favorite.
most well-known sushi restaurants in Victoria. I do understand that when the former emperor and empress came to town, I think they dined at Sen Sushi.
What?
Yeah. I think, was that 2009? Is that right?
Do you want to take your mask off, Lynn?
Yeah, you can take your mask off. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Right. So if it's good enough for the entourage of the emperor and empress, it's good enough for us folks in Victoria, right?
So
I
Lynn's
hope
gonna,
so.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you for inviting me here today. It's nice to be here. It's a very new experience for me. So I thought because it's the Nikkei Cultural Fair, and everybody always goes to the fair and buys California rolls and futomaki, that I should show how to make California rolls and futomaki. So I'll just get to it then.
Yeah, that sounds good. So Lynn, do you know where the California roll was where it was invented?
I've heard a lot of different stories. I've heard that it was invented in the States. I've heard people say that it was invented in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that.
Yes, that is the word on the street. I do believe.
I think that's a popular
Tojo-san
opinion
in Vancouver.
here.
Apparently, that's the word that he left Japan because he felt like he couldn't express himself enough, and came to Vancouver, and then was like, North Americans back then, because this is it was like the 70s or something, right? Was like not very accessible, and so he's like, well, got to make sushi with what's around. And apparently, avocado and cucumber and imitation crab meat. Boom, there you go, right?
Yeah.
I think probably back then avocados were kind of exotic here because it was hard to find avocados when I was young.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. What's the first one you're making?
So I'll start by making the rolls with the sushi on the outside. I've made some rolls already. These are hosomaki, the little ones.
Right.
And then these are the futomaki. They're the big ones. That's why they're called futomaki. And then I have a California roll, which I've covered half of it with sesame seeds and half of it with tobiko. So I'll start with a hosomaki, which is the simplest. So I'll make maybe a kappamaki.
Okay.
So first of all, we have our sushi mat for rolling the sushi, and this is the side you want up, not this side. And I have a little bowl with water for rinsing my hands. And I have my rice ready, my nori ready, and all my ingredients ready. So I take a piece of nori and I put it on the mat. The shiny side, the rough side, the shiny side goes down so that it'll be on the outside. And then you wet your hands just enough that the rice won't stick to your hands, but not so much that the rice will get all wet and fall apart, which is a little bit tricky. And then when you spread it on your piece of nori here, you leave a space at the end so that it will be able to fold over and seal. And then you pull it down and you put as little rice as you can so that you can fit in a lot of ingredients, because the thin rolls, you tend to put a lot of ingredients, and then if you have too much rice, it explodes at the end.
Exploding sushi.
Yeah.
Never a good thing.
It's not pretty. So you want to make it a little bit of a mountain at this side to hold your ingredients from falling over. And you want to leave a little bit of a gap here to meet up with the mountain. And then I leave a little bit of space at each end because the nori will shrink. Yeah. And that way you won't have a whole bunch of rice sticking out the ends.
Oh, okay.
And then I like to put a little bit of sesame seeds and some cucumbers. So you can cut your cucumber into like julienne strips, or you can cut, I've bought some of these mini cucumbers, which are perfect size for this sushi. And I've cut out the core of the cucumber because what you don't want in your sushi is something that's too wet, because that will also cause it to explode.
Right.
So we lay it down here, and then we line up our nori with the end of the mat, and then just lightly put your fingers on the filling, tip it over, and squeeze it right in. So you have the little bit of nori sticking out the end, and then you lift up the mat and flip it once more over so that the overlap is on the bottom. And then you can put that to the side. And before I cut that, I will make one more futomaki.
Futomaki sounds difficult. It's got lots of stuff.
Futomaki's got a lot of sort of exotic sort of ingredients. So if you want to make it at home, you can do your best to get all the ingredients together, or you can play with what you have at home and make something else. We have a few different rolls which have You can do it with like all vegetables. So for the futomaki, because it's a big roll, we're going to go a little bit thicker with the rice. And this side and this side are going to be the sides. And then I'm going to leave a generous piece for overlap at the end. So then I'll move it this way on my mat. So the first thing I'm going to put down is some of this pink flaked fish, which is called sakura denbu. It's very sweet, a little bit fishy, but it's like a very traditional ingredient for futomaki. And you can get this at Fujiya, or you can do it without. It's fine without. And then I'll take a couple of pieces of the Japanese almond. I'll put one on each side of my pink stuff.
Wow. Oh,
and then and then I will put in a couple of pieces of cucumber. And then I have some shiitake, which I've cooked, was dried shiitake, which is cooked and reconstituted with soy sauce and sugar. And this is kampyo. A lot of people think when they see it in their sushi, they think it's meat, especially if they're vegetarians and they order like a vegetable roll. But it's not meat. It's Japanese gourd. It's a bottle gourd, which is another. You can buy this already prepared at Fujiya. And then I'm going to put in some spinach, just cooked spinach.
Wow.
Healthy.
I don't think I've ever made futomaki at home. It's intimidating.
It's a lot of stuff, but.
So good.
And then you just pull it over, and hopefully I can make it meet at the end. And just the same, we roll it over so that the sealed part is going to be on the bottom. And I'll put that aside. Wow.
Well, and of course, Lynn, you make it look easy
Makes
because,
it,
like,
yeah,
how
you
many
make it
thousands
look
of
easy.
rolls have you made in your life, right?
I've made rolls, but nowadays I make a few rolls, but I do a lot of the nigiri right now.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
It's rolls for the.
So when you cut your
So for the juniors,
Yes.
you've graduated to sensei now.
Yeah.
So when you cut your sushi, this is the tricky part, is you don't want to push down too hard. You want to have a very sharp knife.
Okay.
I'm just using a little one. Make it a little bit wet so that it will not stick to the rice so much. And then we cut the small roll in half. Make sure you cut through the bottom. The nori can be a little bit hard to cut through. And then we cut it in thirds generally.
Right.
So there is a kappamaki. And I made this kappamaki, got my cucumber sticking out at the end here. I made this kappamaki with the big pieces of cucumber. I kind of like it this way because it's a little more crunchy.
Okay. Yeah.
But you can also do it with the julienne one. Mm-hmm. So I'll put that one down.
My son,
Right.
Haku, that's one of his favorite, is
Kappamaki?
kappamaki.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really likes it. But if it's gotten anywhere near wasabi, he's out, right? It's like, it smells like it was near wasabi, Dad. I'm not eating that. I'm like, come on, it's just cucumber.
Kids love sushi.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, and then the futomaki is traditionally cut into 5 pieces. This futomaki's, this nori's.
So I have a question about futomaki.
Yep.
Because they're really big.
Yeah.
Are you expected to fit the whole futomaki in your face at the same time?
I know, right?
And it
I
doesn't really
can't.
Right?
I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I make a bit of a mess. But if you sort of.
I usually do like 2 bites,
Yeah.
Like, half of it's falling out, and
Yeah.
you stick the other half in your mouth kind of thing, right?
It's a little tricky because you can't really cut it with chopsticks either,
Right.
right? Like
No.
you should
'Cause
probably
it would fall
hold
apart,
it with hand
right.
and just like
So it
go
just
for
sort
it.
of-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think I have much more room left
I mean,
here.
unless, futomaki was like invented for sumo wrestlers or something, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you know the origin of futomaki, Lynn-san?
The origin of futomaki? No, I don't know the origin.
Yeah, but it's interesting.
But it's
though.
like a real popular picnic sort of food.
Yeah, and it's got a little sweet stuff in it.
It's
too.
got a lot of sweet stuff in it, so I think it's sort of geared for children, maybe.
Yeah, it's like a futomaki. It's like something you take it to hanami.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's a picnic sushi. Yeah.
Maybe that's why it has the sakura denbu in it.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. I haven't seen anywhere where it tells about the origin.
Yeah.
So the next one I will make is the California roll.
Okay.
And so for this one, I have covered a rolling mat with saran wrap, but you don't have to do that. You can just put a piece of saran wrap on your sushi before you roll it, before you squeeze it. So for this one, I make sure that my board is a little bit wet.
Okay.
I take my piece of nori, and again, I have the rough side up. The rice probably sticks better to the rough side. And you need quite a bit of rice for the rolls where the rice is on the outside, because you're covering the entire piece of nori.
Right.
At least for the ones that are made sideways like this. The dynamite roll or the yam tempura roll are usually the fatter ones, and you can leave a space at the end of those ones. So, and make sure that it's wet so that the rice won't stick to your board. And then we take some cucumber, some avocado. I don't like to skimp on the avocado with cucumber or California roll, because I think that's why it's called California roll.
Yeah.
And then I have some imitation crab hair mixed with mayonnaise.
And is that regular mayonnaise or Japanese mayonnaise?
I just used regular. Well, I have avocado oil mayonnaise at home, so.
I don't know that everybody
olive oil
knows,
mayonnaise.
right? Like in North America, I don't know if everybody knows the dread fascination with mayonnaise in Japan.
Japanese mayo.
They like their mayonnaise.
It's the secret sauce for everything,
Japanese
right?
word, mayora? Do you know mayora?
No.
It's a person who puts mayonnaise on everything. So
Oh,
it's like
okay.
a mayoler. Yeah, I'm
Right.
a mayola. I love mayonnaise.
You love
like,
your
you know, some
mayonnaise.
people put like a sriracha in everything, and I
Right,
put
right.
mayonnaise in everything.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Well, the first time
Japanese
I saw
mayo.
like a Japanese, I saw like nigiri salmon, right, with mayonnaise on it at the
Oh.
like conveyor belt sushi. I'm like, no, no, like mayonnaise
That's
is
a
not
little
going on
different,
my salmon nigiri sushi, right?
So I've gently rolled my roll over, and I'm just going to squeeze it with my wrapped. And there we are.
That's the trick.
Ready to cut.
Yeah.
So I guess it's more colorful, so I'll put some tobiko on this one. Or you can put the tobiko on after you cut it if you like. And usually I just cut it in half and flip it around, and then I cut 3 cuts, and then we have 8 pieces.
Yeah.
And that's how to make a California roll. I've run out of space over there, so I'll just put it over here. And there we are.
Great.
Bingo, hey?
Pretty.
Do we still have more time?
I think so.
We certainly do. Yeah.
Enough for one more roll?
I think so. We got about 5 minutes.
So I think I'll try making like a vegetable roll, because I have a lot of vegetables here
Sure.
today.
Okay.
So I'll make it the way that you would make a dynamite roll or a yam tempura roll. So again, the shiny side down. And this time I'm going to leave a space at the end, just like I did for the futamaki. Flip it over. I have my folded space towards me this time. The futamaki, it was away from me. And then I will just start putting some vegetables in. So I'll put some cucumber in, so I have something sticking out the ends. Put in a couple of pieces, or no, I already have cucumber. Put in some spinach.
So that's a cooked and squeezed.
Yes, because you don't want any water, so
Yeah.
it's a lot of squeezing. A lot of sushi's a lot of squeezing. I'll put in some of
So that's
my,
one of the secrets, is making sure you don't
You've
put
got
anything in
good
there that's
grip
got any
strength.
moisture,
Yeah.
or else
Yeah.
exploding sushi.
Well, yeah, because nori will dissolve,
Right.
right? So
Right.
See, I never knew how dangerous it was making sushi.
Yeah.
There's all of these things that can cause it to explode.
Yeah,
Science.
some shiitake. And today I brought some takuan,
Oh, yum.
and I brought some roasted red peppers.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
So people can just get really creative with
can
whatever they want to put in there.
Yeah, I think of sushi as being kind of like, is that everything? Yeah. I think of sushi as being kind of like sandwiches.
Right.
Right.
That's right,
Japanese
yeah.
style. You can just think of what kind of fillings would go well with vinegared rice and should be good. So I will roll it over. It's a bit falling off my. Carefully roll it over. And that was a bit messy. That was a bit messy. And just give it a squeeze.
Yeah. What is the most popular roll at Sanzushi?
The most popular roll at Senzushi, probably the spicy tuna roll.
Spicy tuna.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I didn't bring the ingredients. I have some tuna and some salmon. Roll in preparation, but and then at Senzushi we cut these in 6 pieces instead of the 5, so they're a little bit smaller than the Fudumaki.
Okay.
I like it better if I had some lettuce to have poking out the ends. Gives it a sort of a bit of freshness, so I'll put that down over here. So a vegetarian roll.
Yeah. Oishisou.
Mm-hmm.
That looks good.
And so if we have a bit more time, then I can show you a little bit of nigiri.
Oh, sure.
So nigiri is where you put the fish on top of a little bit of rice that you nigiru.
Yeah.
So you take a little bit of rice, like about, depending on the size of the piece of food that you're going to put on it. So, for example, I have some tuna here that I've already cut. Generally speaking, you're doing it, fish is cut to 4 fingers wide and 2 fingers wide and 4 fingers long.
Okay.
The width. This is a little bit longer. And then we usually put a little bit of wasabi on it. And then we take our little bit of rice and we squeeze it so that it's the shape to go on. And then we place it onto our fish. We give it a bit of a squeeze and press down with our thumb. And then flip it over and squeeze it on the top. And it's
There we go.
ready to go. And then you could do it with salmon as well.
Oh, salmon. I love salmon.
So the regular, like not the restaurant people, like the at-home people, where do you recommend us get the seafood?
There's Fujiya. There's
Okay.
also Finest at Sea.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen, if it says sashimi grade, you can
You're good.
sometimes get sashimi grade tuna they sell it at Save-On Foods. They
Okay.
sell it at Fairway Market.
Yeah.
And when
Sashimi
you-
grade means like a.
Sashimi grade means it's okay to eat it raw.
Okay. Yeah.
And so that's what you want to look for.
Yeah.
Right.
Or you can ask. Ask at your grocery store, and hopefully they will be honest with you and let you know. So when you cut through your fish, you want to cut against the grain.
Okay.
So you can see the little lines in the fish.
Yeah.
You don't want the lines going straight up and down.
Okay.
You want
Okay.
them going across, or a little bit at an angle is fine, but you don't want them going all straight up and down.
My wife is taking notes at home right now. I know she's just like, okay, because we have gotten sashimi grade from
Yeah.
Finest at Sea, like, and you get a big chunk,
Nice.
and then, but it's like sushi chefs like Lynn, right? I mean,
I know.
years to get the knife skills
Well,
right.
yeah,
you
so
know?
that's like a misconception, right? Just because I'm Japanese doesn't mean I know how to make sushi. Because sushi is not something we eat we do eat it at home, but not nigiri. Like a maki sushi,
Right.
we make it, or the
Right.
temaki sushi, to make it in the cone.
Yeah, kids
But-
love that.
Right, but
Right?
not the nigiri.
No.
I've never made nigiri at home.
No,
It's not
never
really a
any-
common thing, but I like to learn.
Yeah,
It's
so
pretty
it's-
amazing.
it's
not- yeah.
She speaks like perfect Japanese. She can make sushi. She does tea ceremony. She
Kinda
can
weird.
put kimono on by herself, unlike myself.
What else do you
She's
do,
more
Lynn?
Japanese
That's
than
it,
I
that's
am. Like, honestly, she's amazing.
That's awesome.
Okay, so the other thing you can do is tamago nigiri. Again, tamago nigiri, we don't ever put wasabi in it.
Right.
Right.
Unless we just accidentally forgot, which happens sometimes. It's like
Yeah, I guess when you're in a construction line, right? Sometimes you just
you're
forget.
really busy. And then I cut these little strips.
Nori belt.
By the way, the nori that I bought, it came in full-size sheets, which are double the width, so I cut them in half. You
Okay.
can see there's some lines here, so the lines will be lengthways. You can just fold your nori in half at first, and it'll snap in half, and then I just cut the rest of them to fit. So when we do tamago nigiri, we put one of these little obi, one of these little nori belts on to hold it from falling off, because it's not going to stick.
Nice.
So there's, I guess I should have it facing the camera. That would be the way it looks. Some nigiri. My table's not big enough for
That's great.
all this stuff, but that's pretty much.
Awesome.
Any other questions?
Great.
Lynn,
No,
that
this
was
is beautiful.
It's like I love just watching masters at work and doing your thing. It's so effortless and this is so
Yeah.
But obviously it takes a long time to get to have non-exploding sushi.
That's
It
right.
doesn't take too long of a time.
Yeah,
Does it?
I mean rolls are pretty easy. Like if you got all the right stuff.
Once you get a hang of
But
it,
getting the right mix of like the rice and like you say, keep it away from the sides and that sort of thing, because like you know what you want to do.
Yeah.
And hopefully, folks at home have gotten some, and I do believe we're going to have this broadcast available after.
Yeah.
So if you're like, oh, what did Lynn say about
that's
how we
right.
should do that? And then
Yeah,
you can just go and see it. So Lynn, thank you so much
Thank you so much,
for
Lynn.
sharing your wisdom with us and opening up some Japanese cuisine. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
A little mini sushi bar.
And you can go to Senzushi and meet Lynn.
That's right.
She's going to be working in the sushi bar.
That's right. So yeah, if you're hankering for some sushi, head on down to Senzushi and see Lynn, and she will help you out. And if you happen to speak
hook you up.
Japanese, you can yak at her as well.
That's right. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lynn.
All right. So what is next?
Well, we are coming down to the wire,
The
aren't we?
time's
Right?
flying.
The time has just flown by.
Yeah.
With all of our fantastic presentations, and I do believe next up is a pre-record
Yes.
of Minyo,
Minyo. Yes.
which is kind of a traditional folk
folk song,
singing.
yes.
Yeah, folk song, folk singy-songy.
Yes. Yeah.
And again, we're really lucky. We've got Rina El-Nahas, who's a very, very accomplished singer, musician, and folks are going to be able to enjoy some of her.
It's a family band.
Some of her, the family band. That's right. We'll be able to enjoy some of those songs.
Yeah. So enjoy Minyo by Rina and her family band.
Are you ready? 3, はい。何の花切る方かよ思い出したらまた聞いてね木彫りの小 皆さんこんにちは。Hello everyone, my name is Rina. We are Rina and Minyo band. And this is Danny, Nami, and Eric. We have Minyo music for you today. The first song was called Dounan Nattobushi from Hokkaido. And next songs are, we're going to do Hanagasa Ondo, Soranbushi, and Tairyu Utaikomi. We hope you enjoy. Hi. 「 This will be the last song for you, and it's called Tsugaru Jinku from Aomori Prefecture. Okay. 3, はい。Thank you for watching us, and stay safe and healthy until next time.
Rib.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
All right. Well, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Yeah, so that was Minyo. Hopefully you enjoyed the performance by Rina and family. It's fantastic. And, well, here we are, Yukari-san.
I can't believe this kind of went by so quickly, but we're at the last act.
We are. As with every fair, we open with Uminari Taiko and we close with Uminari Taiko. But before we close,
yes,
as we promised earlier, all of those who sent questions in for the Q&A on sake with Shino-san, we've got your names.
Yes.
And they're in a bowl.
Okay.
Right there. And Yukari is going to...
Am I going to do it?
Yeah, I think so. You just go ahead and mix them up and pull out a name, and we'll find out who's getting a free sake flight at Ine.
Okay. Oh, did I? Okay, not that one.
It's the one that's in your hand.
Brittany Nolan
is
the winner.
Brittany, you
congratulations.
are the winner. We will be in touch.
Yes.
On how to get that
claim the
certificate kind of thing for the free sake flight at Ine. And I think without further ado, let's turn everybody over to Uminari Taiko to close out, and we'll come back when they're done, and we'll officially close the fair.
Okay.
Ashura. Ashura was composed by a Buddhist priest in Los Angeles named Reverend Mas Kodani. And he is a very beloved member of the original Taiko pioneer family because he was associated with the first Buddhist group that was associated with a temple. And so there were two people that brought Taiko to North America. The one was Seichi Tanaka, and he was very tough and strong. And Reverend Mas Kodani was the opposite. He was very lovely and inclusive, and he wanted everyone to enjoy Taiko. So Ashura musically describes the conflict we face in our existence between the realms of good and evil. And you saw the fighting between the two sides. And then it's supposed to be, we can reconcile the two sides of the good and evil that is in all of us and come together and play in unison at the end, which we did. And the next piece we're going to play is Bamboo Forest. It's a newer piece for us. It was composed by a professional taiko player in the San Francisco Bay Area called Christy Oshiro. And she came up, she was in the area, and she came over to give us a one-day workshop, which we could never have afforded if we had to bring her up from San Francisco. So Bamboo Forest, you'll see it starts with gentle dripping of raindrops in the bamboo forest and swaying, and then a storm comes up, and you'll see that the excitement builds, and the big wind comes up, and you'll see what happens. Bamboo Forest.
Coming up now for Matsuri, which means festival. Festivals that are celebrated throughout Japan and around the world now as the diaspora of Japanese culture and customs and heritage have been spread and shared around the world. Just a quick check on the number of festivals across Japan. Last year, it was estimated that 200,000 festivals were played, so I think Matsuri was played several times within that. So it's adapted by many taiko groups across North America and around the world as well. We here in Victoria at Uminari Taiko are going to play Matsuri to close out the festival with thanks to all of you for watching and thanks to all of you for support and with all good wishes. Here we are with Matsuri.
Uminari Taiko, ladies and gentlemen. Arigatou gozaimashita.
ありがとうございました。
Otsukaresama deshita.
お疲れ様でした。
Thanks for working hard. And thanks to all of you who have joined us for this virtual cultural fair. We hope you enjoyed it. We would appreciate it if you, considered making a donation to the VNCS. Also, don't forget about 32 auctions and also our survey. If you feel like providing feedback, we would be more than happy to hear what you have to say to share with us, so we can always make our matsuris. Is funny you're sharing about that, because I guess I get to share this. So my father-in-law in Japan, this is one of his happy coats from the Danjiri Matsuri in Kishiwada. And this is from Obucho. Obu is his neighborhood. And this is the hachimaki that they wear when they're out, because this time of year is when they do it, in October. But in Japan, like in Osaka, it's still like 30 degrees centigrade at this time of year. So they get pretty hot. And so I'm honoring some of my heritage today as well in our festival. So
Great.
I had to give a shout out to Osaka.
Yeah, for sure. I just wanted to remind everyone, if you missed the live stream, this footage today, this festival today is available on YouTube.
Will be available on our YouTube channel, and we'll get the link up on our homepage as soon as we can get back to a computer and make that happen. So once again, we do thank you for joining us and for making what makes our festival fun, being a part of it. And we hope soon to be back with you in person at the Esquimalt Rec Center, hopefully next year, if we can beat this pandemic.
Yes.
All right. And thank you, Yukari-san, for being a wonderful co-host.
Thank
you. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate all of our crew from Roll Focus, and also Jordan Editor that helped do our pre-records, and all of our volunteers that are here, been helping out. We really do appreciate it. All of our performers, all of our presenters, we really do appreciate your participation, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Bye.